this is the kind of people that are being let go. USAID chick, she looks like she might be a year out of college. She probably has a gender studies degree or political science, which is almost equally as useless. You can take the humanitarians out of USAID, but you can't take humanity out of the humanitarians, reads her box. This little dork probably thinks that her job and what she does in her life working for the government is the most important thing on earth. And then without her, people will die.
Renegade Online.
Right now, Trump administration slashing 1,600 USAID positions just before midnight. This is Sunday, February 23rd. This was updated just about an hour ago. The Trump administration is eliminating over 1,000 positions at USAID, which is the culprit of the money that just went missing. Just money goes in, nothing comes out. That's USAID, right? Gets to pay for a bunch of Democrat, left-wing, hyper-radicalized pet projects and garbage. Things like Stacey Abrams' $2 billion slush fund. The Associated Press reported that learned from the Trump administration that 1,600 posts were going to be eliminated after reviewing notices that were sent to USAID workers. Wait, I thought the Associated Press, weren't they kicked out? Weren't they going to sue the Trump administration because they weren't going to have access to the Trump? Oh, apparently the AP is still able to be journalists. Imagine that. I think, you kind of wonder. Hot take. Yeah, the AP reporting this kind of seems to undermine their lawsuit, does it not?
Yeah, there's probably a conflict here.
Yeah, it might just be. As of 11:59 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, Feb 23, that's just a couple hours from now, kids, all USAID direct hire personnel, meaning not contractors, is direct hire, I guess, with the exception of designated personnel responsible for mission-critical functions. It's probably like 3 people. Core leadership and other specially designated programs will be placed on administrative leave globally, okay? Now, administrative leave, the problem with that is that usually amounts to what we would refer to as paid vacation, while they try to figure out what to do with these people and shut them down. But to me, this does seem like it's the first step on the road to just dumping them. Less than 300 remaining staff, wow, along with an unknown number of the 5,000 locally hired international staff members abroad. That's a lot of people. I mean, all they're supposed to be doing is cutting checks to other foreign entities. Why do we have 5,000 people that we're hiring in other countries? To do what? Just receive the checks? It seems like a lot. They will run the few life-saving programs that the administration said it intends to keep in place for the time being. Sacked USAID staffers left their Washington, D.C. offices for the last time Friday, with some carrying boxes scrawled with messages that seemed to be directed at Trump, who was slashing the agency's workforce. "We're abandoning the world," read one message on a box containing belongings, and being hauled out by this little 25-year-old This is the kind of people that are being let go, okay? USAID chick, she looks like she might be a year out of college. She probably has a gender studies degree or political science, which is almost equally as useless. You can take the humanitarians out of USAID, but you can't take humanity out of the humanitarians, reads her box. This little dork probably thinks that her job and what she does in her life working for the government is the most important thing on earth. And then without her, people will die. We've heard this from the left how many times, Mark? If the government doesn't spend this or spend that, so-and-so is going to die.
Think of the children. We are the world.
Yeah.
We need to make it a better place.
No, Mark, we are right here. She says it. We are abandoning the world. Right there. She wrote it on the box, Mark. It must be true. Yeah.
I made a joke about how many people in the media were probably like searching frantically on Shutterstock for the most pitiable looking malnourished child in the third world when they wrote these headlines. But Americans, here's my message to this woman who probably was never taught about ideals higher than herself, who probably never really internalized her duty to the Constitution. Nope. And not the rest of the world, her duty as a federal worker to the Constitution that has given her so much. More Americans think the country's on the right track than any time in almost 2 decades. So suck on that, sweetheart.
That's right. And one other
of this. Bye. Don't let the door hit you.
And let's not forget, Mark, this young lady here also, I don't even have to look it up, but I promise you, has pronouns in her bio.
Let me start out by saying this. If I offend anybody today, I don't give a shit.
I'm using that. I am going to use that so many times in the next few weeks. Thousands of staffers have been notified weeks ago of their pending dismissals, and on Friday, U.S. District Judge Carl Nichols lifted a temporary restraining order that he had issued at the outset of a lawsuit filed by government employee unions seeking a stop to the mass layoffs. I wish I'd caught this when Ron was here. It's like, a judge issued the TRO, and then something changed his mind and then lifted it. After lifting the TRO, Nichols declined to issue a longer-term order that would have kept the employees in their posts. Something changed, right? It's this amazing concept, Mark. You would think that for all of these people that work under the executive branch, they are employed by essentially Article 2 of the Constitution. This crazy concept that the guy who was elected as the chief executive would not have power to hire or fire people. That's, I don't know, but some of these judges seem to be confused on that.
This is going to get really complex. There's going to be so many legal cases. Some of the judges will be corrupt. Some of them won't. Some of them will be activists. Some of them won't. But what it looks like is that Trump has prepared and is enacting like broad spectrum war on the deep state. So this is going to continue apace, and some of it is, of course, going to be slowed down. But ultimately, what's going to happen is public opinion, I'm just guessing here, is going to get even more motivated for Trump's war on the deep state. Because listen, when they were going after Trump with the DOJ, and a strong majority of people were against it, but it's like Trump potentially being a dictator is a lot easier to convince people than our government's not stealing. When you're going to have headline after headline coming out, oh, look at these 10,000 duplicate Social Security numbers. Oh, the money was going to the cartels. Look at how much money was being double billed by Medicaid. Like, this is taxpayer money. It's going to be indefensible. How are they going to be able to defend against that?
I don't know.
The core left is going to get smaller and loonier, and it's going to be wild.
I didn't want to deviate down that storyline. It just made me think of it when you said that, the whole thing about the money going to the cartels. But as a point of fact, as a point of example here at the very least, I started reminding folks this week when we started hearing certain politicians complain that, well, it's the U.S. that's giving the cartels all the guns. And I remind people, it's like, yes, you can thank Barack Obama for that in a little program called Fast and Furious. Not the movie, but it was an operation that Eric Holder's DOJ named after the movie, and our Department of Justice under Barack Obama, sent a bunch of guns down to Mexico and then lost track of them. Yeah. Where'd they go? Yeah, I wonder why.
And now they're probably buying them off the Ukrainian black market for real. They're probably getting our guns that way. Everything's on the table. It's everything that you cynically project is almost certainly correct. Why haven't we won the war on drugs? I think we all know now why. Why? We all know why.
Yeah, it's true. You look here, the last part of the story I wanted to mention, Trump has moved to gut USAID after imposing a 90-day pause on foreign aid. He also appointed Secretary of State Mark Rubio as the acting director of USAID. So I think we're going to see a lot of fun changes here coming up.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.